Welcome back, welcome back. Yes, we're doing another sketchbook video. It actually almost ended up being something digital, but I worked it out. I actually had the day I was going to record this. Originally, I was freezing cold. I have no idea why. It wasn't even that cold in our house. I was just freezing, and I could not warm up. And I kind of considered setting up my camera and just recording it while I sat on my bed and covered up for a bit to see if it would help me warm up, because I still had some things to do. And then I was just so cold and so tired that I kept almost nodding off. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to pay attention to a video. It's not gonna turn out well. And I gave up that day, and I ended up sitting there under blankets for I don't even know how long before I was finally warm. So yeah, I just waited until the next day, and here we are, and we are drawing. Funny thing about this is I just went with something that had popped into my head, I think the day before. It was really random, but I tend to do things with faces a lot as masks. I don't know why. Maybe I saw something when I was younger and it just kind of stuck with me. Who knows? But yeah, I just thought of something similar to this, and that's kind of just what I went with right off the bat. Didn't really look around or even consider doing anything different. I just went for it. So is what it is, and turned out how it turned out. A little disappointed with the face on the right side, but I know that that's just lack of practice, so it's fine. Yeah, so sketchbook video. I had a rough time filming this only because I have been reading, and I am an obsessive reader. So okay, I have been exercising, and I listen to audiobooks while I'm exercising now, and I've gotten to where I have to cut myself off. Like, you can only listen to this chapter and this chapter, because I will continue listening and continue exercising until the end of time, just to listen to a story, which is not healthy. So yeah, I had one that I was listening to on audiobook, and it finished, and the same person who wrote those books had another one, and I was really excited and I wanted to read it, or at least listen to it. And I was getting to the point where I couldn't focus on anything because I was just wondering what happened next. So I bought a book. It wasn't very much money. It was like $3 or something on sale, and it was just the Kindle version. I would have to sit down and read it kind of book. Okay, I know who I am as a person, and it's just dangerous to give in to these things because I just really, really love to read. I have since I was very young. My mom and one of my older sisters used to always read, and they would talk about books, and it made me feel a little left out, so then I forced myself to read some of my first chapter books, and I was hooked after that, and no one can stop me. So to this day, when I'm busy or I have things to do, I do not allow myself to read anything. I cannot do it. Not comic books, not webtoons, not anything, because I am obsessive about things like that. I just want to read. I want to know what happens. I will not be able to sleep thinking about what's going to happen next. So yeah, same goes for shows. But for those, I tend to watch them with people, and so I can kind of center myself around that. Like, at this time of day, I know I will watch the show. Well, when it comes to reading, I'm not a one chapter person very often, depending on the book. I just read and read and read, and I don't even pay attention to when the chapters change. It just keeps going, which I'm sure is very uninteresting to everybody. But yeah, I was just having a hard time drawing because all I was thinking about was what was going to happen next in the book, because I ended it on a cliffhanger the day before, and I actually drew this in the morning at a decent time, hence the shadows, which is crazy in and of itself, because I usually film kind of after lunch or just before lunch. So yeah, I got straight out of bed. I had our little dog buddy that day, and he was super tired, and he was following me around and trying to sit with me so he could take a nap, and I was walking around doing chores and things, and so I was like, okay buddy, let's go to the bedroom. He has his bed in here, so I was like, let's just go in. And if you feel like resting, you can rest and I'll just film. And it actually worked out really well, and I was able to film the whole thing while he took a whole friggin' nap. So, yep, he was sleepy. He was very sleepy, but he had been up really early in the morning, so it worked out for me, and I was able to finish it. But then by the time I finished editing this and it went through its first render, I kind of ended up hitting that bad time in the evening where everyone's watching TV and everyone's doing their own thing, and both of my brothers were playing a game together, so they were being insane, which is sometimes very, very hilarious and entertaining, but definitely would not have worked out for making this voiceover. So that is why my video is a bit late. Not necessarily later in the day. I kind of count it as a win if it just goes up on Tuesday, so that I don't stress myself out about all the posting stuff. So we just roll with that. So yeah. Anyway, obviously with this one I did what I usually do. I started with my thumbnails and kept it pretty simple, drew one slightly bigger to make sure that it kind of held up to what I wanted in that size, and usually if it does, I'm like, alright, we can just move to paper. I'm not gonna fuss with this. And, you know, there's some stuff I'm not happy with, and it's fine. I don't know, I didn't feel that mad about it, so it's okay. And then I wasn't gonna actually give this guy a skeleton face, but then as I was drawing those sketches before, and I was just doing the base skeleton, excuse me, the base skeleton kind of thing, it just kind of like stuck. And then you'll see later on when I'm doing the deep blacks in the eyes and stuff, I end up making almost a pupil kind of thing, and that was not on purpose. I just liked the way that it looked, so I tried to do it in the other eye, basically thinking, if it looks too wonky, I'll just, you know, fill it in, but it did alright, and I kind of like the effect that it had. And then I really like drawing unruly hair, because I used to have super short hair, and it was... Whenever it's long, it's straight because it's kind of heavy, but whenever it was short, it was curly, kind of like my brother's hair is. And yeah, when it was short when I was a kid, and I had the sides and the back kind of shaved, it got a little wild. It got pretty wild in the night, wake up, and it's just like a giant cotton ball that's been, I don't know, pulled at. It looked insane. So yeah, sometimes I just think about that or look at one of my brother's hair and it's like, yeah, that's too fun to pass up. I've got to draw that on something, someone, it doesn't even matter at this point. I was like shading right here. I thought about doing some hatching. I'd like to get back into more hatching again, but I ended up just filling that in with black later on, which wasn't my original plan. And I also think these hands weren't the best, but you know, it's fine. It's okay. I just wanted to get the page finished in plenty of time so that I wasn't like trying to draw on it on a day that, you know, just to catch up to finish it when I couldn't find any quiet. So it just is what it is. I like to finish the sketchbook pages in one sitting if I can, and I really should have used some like ink and stuff, but I don't have as much here as I did before. Still kind of sorting out the small parts of the bedroom situation, so it is what it is. Though we got these like these like under bed storage things with little wheels, and I'm hoping that helps a little bit with some of the space. We'll see, of course, but I'm hoping. I'm sure all of my books not being here is not helping with my with my want to read. I I've been just thinking about books that I like to pick up off my shelf a lot, and then I have to remind myself that they are not here. I have a couple of my framed ink and framed perspective books, and one of the ones by T.B. Choi, and an art book by Polska Demizu and Claire Wendling. And those are all the books I have currently. Everything else is like a couple sketchbooks, and I think most of my art supplies are still in a bag that I mentioned last time. So here we are, finally filling this sucker in. I didn't know if I was going to fill as much of it in as I did, but it just worked out the way that it worked out, which was fine with me. Again, this was kind of just a passive idea. Like, I don't know, I had a couple elements of it thought of that one day, and whenever I sat down, it came back to me, and I thought, yeah, why not? And I went with it. And whatever I thought of doing, I just kind of did. Aside from the hatching I was talking about, I really considered doing more hatching, like in the background and in the darker spots, and then I just went with something simple. I didn't even go as dark. I usually try to build up a decent contrast on these. I just kind of dig things like that. I think they look really nice, but I didn't do that so much on this one, and I don't know, I didn't mind. Kind of when I was about to edit, I was thinking, oh man, maybe I should have gone back and done a little bit more on it. Maybe I should have done this or that. And it was fine the way that it turned out, I think. And I also ended up taking our dog out, and he decided he needed to be outside for like nearly 2 hours. So yeah, I don't always let him do that, but he just wanted to be outside. And I'm like, I feel ya. I feel you, buddy. And we just sat out there, and then I may or may not have read my book for all that time. Unless he walked, because I keep my screen brightness really low because my eyes are very sensitive. And then I couldn't friggin' see, so just whenever he decided to sit. And anytime he gets up to walk or whatever, I mostly let him, if he isn't being stubborn. Because we're both stubborn. I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but if anyone's curious, I know sometimes people say, oh yes, my dog, my cat, my horse, whatever. And that makes me curious, but our little dude is a corgi mixed with a healer. So he's a little cow dog. Actually is, and he's adorable. He's black, white, and brown. He's got those little brown eyebrows kind of thing, and then whenever he looks at you and he wants something and he looks back and forth, they pretty much dance. His eyebrows do. It's so freaking cute. Actually, one of these days I'll try to remember to put a picture up for everybody, because you're missing out and not seeing him. He's adorable. And just such a brat. It's great. Definitely fits in well with our family because we are all stubborn. And these are just the little Tombow brush marker things, the water-based ones that I have. I don't think I showed the side view of them, so that's what they are. And this is just one of the gray packs, which I like very much. And I don't really mind the streakiness. Actually, on this paper, it's not even that bad if you move quickly, but I personally don't mind. I like building up all of the different tones and stuff. Almost creates an interest in on the page or whatever, and I like that. Then I went much lighter on these guys and just continued to layer the same color. I could have gone slightly darker and just pulled it a little bit because it is wet, but I did not. I didn't think it was needed. I thought it was fine as it was. I felt like the focal point came through, and it was easy to tell what that was, and it was fine. Actually, by the time I was getting towards the end, I was no longer being a jerk and trying to just go read my book. And I was instead just kind of in my head and daydreaming, which is kind of what I tend to do when I'm drawing. I do think about things, but if I can daydream at the same time, I'm usually in a good place. So it's like you have this weird concentration where you're remembering what things look like and kind of pulling from things you've seen and, you know, anatomy or something to do with contrast or whatever's in your head. And yeah. Anyway, that's the finished picture. I hope that you liked it. Have a good day or night, and bye.